Hey guys, OGalbina here. Bring you guys our BBR Season 3, Week 11 battle against Vepsis and the Helsinki Head Dragons. This is going to be a post-com. It's going to be pretty relaxed kind of style of video this week. I'm not going to do the team builder either, or really go over what I brought at all, other than what you're going to see on screen and stuff like that. Just because Vepsis is for sure making playoffs, and we are for sure making playoffs. And at this point in the season, I believe we are 8-2. I am not stressed if we lose out the rest of our games. Actually, next week is going to be a really fun video. We're going to have my little brother Cooper playing against Liv for our final week, because she's locked out of playoffs and I'm locked in. So we figured it'd be a fun way to end off the season. But yeah, I don't want to reveal anything to Vepsis. I brought a very much so Super B team. I built this team in about 5 minutes. Not super stressed about this one. And yeah, with that being said, we can kind of jump into it. Again, this is going to be a post-com, just because when I played this, I didn't really have the ability to live comment stuff like that. But I see the 6th Vest brought. He obviously brought the Magnemite, which is really funny, to try and potentially trap our Stila. We are an auto set, though, so hopefully that doesn't end up working. And then we have Weavile, Rotom, Heat, Registeel, Noivern, and Exeggutor. Now, as we jump into this battle, I am just going to lead off with my, what do you call it? Sorry about that. I'm going to lead off with my Crustle, just because I feel as if it's very free hazards. Again, his only removal that he has on this team are going to be Noivern, which we beat 1v1 at this amount of health, and Rotom, which we have a Lumberry for, and I would totally take a big adamant Stone Edge off on that thing. So I am just going to elect to get up a little bit of hazards here on this big Eggy. In my head, I'm thinking, you know, he should probably scout for the X-Scissor, but he's also probably potentially scared of not breaking my Sturdy, in case I am obviously Sturdy, and I smash up in his face, because Smash Crustle is actually really good versus the team that he elected to end up bringing. So he's going to Giga Drain here. We're going to see that actually is a 2-hit KO. So this Eggy's actually pretty decently invested right here, as you can see. And I'm kind of contemplating exactly what I really want to go for, whether it be to get damage off on this thing with an edge, or to try and get up my rocks, or to see if another spike is more valuable. But I decided that rocks would be a little bit more valuable, just in case he isn't boots on his Noivern or his Rotom or anything like that. And realistically, the other spike would only be great for something like a Registeel potentially, or something like that. Magnemite, I'm not too concerned about, in all honesty. So we are going to be able to get up our rocks right there, as we do unfortunately drop to said Giga Drain, but Crustle did its job. It came here, set up hazards, be annoying, and hopefully put on a little bit of offensive pressure here going forward. So what we're going to be able to do here is we're going to be able to go Crook, because realistically the only good pivots into Knock that he has, or really the only pivots he has into Crook, are going to be those Pokemon that have boots, things like the Noivern, things like the Rotom. If I can knock off their boots, that's genuinely amazing for me. So right here, I have an incredibly free knockoff. Now, it might not Oko this Eggy, but what it will do is it'll you know, get a lot of damage off on this thing, and Giga Drain doesn't kill me in return. I should be able to KO this thing pretty easily, especially being that we saw that he wasn't, like, you know, going to be max for his death, because it seemed, at least from the Crustle damage, that he was pretty darn invested. So let's go ahead, and I probably should have done like a sped up version of this and like rendered it out. So yeah, I am just going to knock off here. Awesome. So yeah, we are going to be able to get a big knockoff here. He's going to switch out his Eggy. And while that sucks that we don't get the knockoff on it, obviously has to come in on a Spike and Rocks potentially afterwards. We are going to get frisked by the Noivern until it's not Infiltrator, but again, it doesn't really matter in this matchup. We're going to get a big knockoff off. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a 2-hit KO, obviously, especially after the item loss. But we're also going to see that that thing is an incredibly bulky Noivern. Very defensive on his Noivern this week. So we are going to pivot out, though. He can defog, but it'll give me free momentum with my Lantern, so I'm not super worried about that, in all honesty. And we can start getting off a lot of damage, as he does elect to Roost here, trying to keep that Noivern healthy, which is completely fair. He also might not have defog on this. It might be on his Rotom, so something else to note. And right here, I am going to Volt. We are kind of hard bluffing Ice Beam, but even if he, you know, calls us on not having Ice Beam, we do get the slow momentum out, and we are Rest Talk, so we can potentially rest off any Super Fang chip that we want to take or anything like that, as we are going to see the Exeggutor come right back out. And like I said, even though we didn't get the knock on it earlier, it is going to have to take that Rock and that Spike, and obviously take a little tiny bit of chip from this Volt Switch, which is awesome. So this is awesome. Gives us a little bit of switch initiative, gives us a little bit of momentum, and we're going to be in a pretty good spot here, as we are going to pivot right out into our Crocodile, just because it's the thing that immediately offensively pressures this thing the most. I can't justifiably go into my Celesteela yet. I need a lot of chip on that Registeel. If I can chip the Registeel, honestly, my Celi can win once it gets up to +1. +1 Stone Edge can blow back Rotom potentially, especially because we're very offensive. So that's obviously really nice. I am going to go out into Crook, though. And simply, I think I clicked Lariat this turn, because depending on his bulk, again, I didn't 100% confirm his bulk, but depending on his bulk, I could potentially 2-hit KO that Noivern on the switch-in with rocks and things like that. So I figured that that was probably going to be my safest play, as I think I'm calcing right here. Yeah, I was. Cool. As he does go into the Noivern, unfortunately, we unfortunately did not get it in 2-hit KO range, as again, we see how dumb bulky that thing is. And we're going to be able to pivot out into our Lantern once again and simply click Volt Switch. With the hazards up, this is really, really obnoxious for his team to potentially try and deal with at this point. So we will 100% take this type of damage and stuff like that. So I am going to pivot out with the Volt Switch, as he does go right back out. And wait, no, did I rewinded? Sorry. I apologize. Yeah, I totally rewinded. I was like, wait, I've seen this before. Yeah, so here we are. We're back, and we're going to click Lariat here. Awesome. Apologize, guys. Sorry. So Identity is going to switch out, obviously. Lynn is going to come in, which I believe is going to be that Registeel. So him hard reading that we're not going to Earthquake. He knows that we're Scarf too, so this is a completely fair play, because his Noivern was potentially 2-hit KO'd by us at this point in time in the match. So we are going to be able to Lariat, get off a good chunk of damage. See that this thing is leftovers, which is also good information to know. And again, if we can get rid of those 2 Pokemon off the ground, an endgame Earthquake sweep is also definitely very, very possible. Or even just knockoff cleaning the game could definitely happen. So Crook is looking to be a massive, massive threat in this game for sure. I'm going to pivot out into my my throw, just because I know that Iron Defense is very, very scary for the team that I brought. And the reason throw is here is to circle throw that thing out, force Hazard Chip on some things, be generally annoying for Vepsis' team to deal with and things like that. So we are going to go ahead and pivot out. Plus 2 body press comes nowhere close to KOing us, which is obviously great. And yeah, we'll be vibing right here, as I believe he's going to pull a double. Yeah, he pulls a double right out into his Rotom, and this is a good play by Vepsis, getting in an aggressive double, just because of the fact that this is going to allow him to get the defog off, and being that my Crustal's gone, it means I'm not pressuring his team with hazards anymore. So this is definitely a very, very, very solid double by Vepsis, for sure. As this turn, expecting said defog, as I thought we were going to disconnect right here. I remember I was like, oh no. Yeah, expecting said defog, I am just going to circle throw. I want to at least gain a little bit of initiative off of this, put him on the back foot and potentially a switch, as he does defog right here, and you're going to see this sucks, because we're gonna miss our circle throw. We're gonna miss our circle throw, and you'll see why this is a bit bad here in a second. Now we are gonna miss, and right here, what I should have done, 100%, I won't lie to you. While that miss does really end up biting me in the ass, because I'm gonna have to take a big hit on throw that I normally wouldn't have had to take otherwise. I should have gone into my Lantern hard walls this thing. Really doesn't care about it whatsoever. I could have gone into Lantern and got a slow Volt Switch off and kept health on my throw, which would help me for the end game. But in my tilt, I'm like, no, I'm hitting this thing with a circle throw. And, you know, getting a little bit of offensive momentum and things like that. But what I should have done is for sure pivot out, because now I'm going to take this overheat. And after this overheat, things get a little bit more scary for throw really checking the rest of Vepsis' team. Things like that Registeel especially. So we are going to hit our second circle throw. And again, it doesn't do the most damage, but it at least gave me a little bit of switch initiative, if that makes any sense. And unfortunately, we're going to get sent right out into the Noivern, which is no bueno. Probably the worst case scenario. Best case scenario would have been something like Registeel. Because I could have rested up, I could have just circle thrown it, something like that. But I'm going to be forced to kind of pivot out into my Lantern. You know, forced into a little bit more of a back foot situation. So these last 2 turns haven't been kind to me. But again, I 100% realized I should have switched out my throw. There was no reason for me to take that unnecessary chip. So it's honestly, like, while the hacks does suck, it was a really shitty play by me. 100%. So I can't cap about that. So we are going to go hard into our Lantern, as I believe Vepsis is going to click Super Fang. This is fine. Again, we are rest Lantern, so it's not the end of the world if we take a little bit of chip, because we can always rest up later on. And again, this Noivern really isn't super threatening me, especially if it's not taunting me and stuff like that. And yeah, so I'm just going to click Volt Switch. Again, very, very free turn on my end, at least for me. So that's what we're going to do, as he does pivot on out. Again, that is completely fine. Goes right back out into Big Eggy. And if the hazards were up, awesome. If not, it's completely fine. Honestly, no, if this thing was Citrus, I think the Volt Switch would have put him in range of his Citrus, so he might have actually been healthier if hazards were up. So maybe blessing in disguise, who knows. And then from here, I believe I am just going to choose to go into my Crook. I'm pretty sure I just go hard Crook. Yeah. Awesome. So, Crook is going to come out here. And get another very, very free either knockoff or Darkish Lariat. Again, this Pokemon puts on a lot of offensive pressure, puts him on the back foot a little bit, which is obviously really, really nice for our team. And yeah, we can put on, you know, a good amount of offensive pressure, as I believe I do just throw off a big knockoff, I want to say. Oh, no, I know what turn happens here. I click Stone Edge, predicting him to switch into the Noivern or the, No, I click Lariat. Okay. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. So he is going to withdraw as we do just click Lariat, I believe. So he goes out into Chobi, which is going to be the Noivern. Again, completely fine. I'm forcing a little bit of chip on this thing, and I'm getting in my Lantern, potentially, just to get a free Volt on pretty much anything that he wants to go for. As Lariat's going to do a lot here. If we can keep this thing a little bit low, next time it comes in, it is 2-hit KO by Lariat, which is obviously very, very nice for us, as I believe we are going to pivot out into our Licky, just because my Lantern had been taking a little bit of chip. I figured it'd be nice to get a Wish Up, you know, pass out into something else on the team. Especially my, what do you call it? Weavile comes out. Especially my, my Throw. That would be genuinely amazing to Wish Up my Throw, because I also check this thing a lot better. Unfortunately, it makes a double right out into the Weavile. I believe I am just going to throw off a big body slam just because I can't let this thing set up a Sword Stance. If it sets up a Sword Stance, I think I honestly just lose the game right here. So I want to at least try and punish him for trying to set up in my face, if that makes any sense. And, you know, trying to get out into something a little bit more, you know, a little bit healthier. As he does end up low kicking, I believe his damage does show me that he is not banned. I want to say he's not banned based on the damage, but we are going to get a big body slam off, do a good 40-ish%, and then get a big para, which is honestly amazing. This thing being parried is really, really nice for things like my Registeel in the back. If for some reason he was like a weird scarf set, it would have outpaced their +2 Selly, so that's obviously great. Getting chip on this thing is obviously great as well for the rest of our team, because Weavile is probably the biggest start to my team offensively that he ended up bringing. So we're going to be able to get a big body slam off there, not only get that ton of damage off, but also get the paralysis, which is great. As I believe this turn, I am going to pivot out, try and save, you know, the rest of our team. I try and save our Licky to get a Wish Up later, I mean, because I believe I can still take on Noivern and things like that. It can't taunt me. It can try and Super Fang me down, but again, I can just Wish Up in that thing's face pretty freely. If I get a free switch into it, on like a Volt Switch, I could probably Wish Up on the Executor pretty easily as well. So, it's a potential play for me, but yeah. So we are going to, let's see, I'm definitely contemplating right here. It's been a minute. So I am just going to protect, try and get a little lefties back. Okay, that's completely fine. I guess it's no drawback, especially because, like, even if he is Sword Stance at this point, he is paired, so it's not that big of a deal. And I remember calcing on my Selly. Selly was damn near 2-hit KO'd by Choice Band low kick, and I think that damage might have shown me that he might have been Choice Band. I don't remember exactly, but regardless, he did a ton, especially because I wasn't a defensive Selly, so I wasn't really willing to go into that and take that chip, if that makes any sense. So, yeah. We are going to pivot out, though, with our Licky. Sorry, I just wanted to skip ahead a little bit because doing the post-con without, you know, making it faster. We're going to go right out into our Crocodile. And the reason we go out into our Crocodile is because I know I could take this thing with the Intimidate, and I could, you know, immediately revenge this thing with a Stone Edge. And the reason I can click Stone Edge at this point is because obviously the Weavile is weak to it, and I can catch one of his flyers pretty easily as well. So that would be obviously genuinely amazing to hit one of those things, because then, you know, our end game becomes a lot freer with Big Crook here, especially if we, you know, eliminate this Weavile, being that it's paired now. If we can eliminate it before it Ice Shards us and kills us, that's obviously great for us to have, potentially. So I am going to click Stone Edge as he does withdraw, I believe, out into Rotom Heat. Yep, Gordon. Obviously Gordon Ramsay. And this obviously would not have killed, but it would have done a ton of damage if we hit. But we're not gonna. And in my tilt, I kind of click Stone Edge again. Again, I should have pivoted. This Rotom was very, very nimble this game, and it was tilting the hell out of me. I remember playing this game live and just being like, are you fucking kidding me? What I should have done is, again, just pivoted Lantern. Lantern was very free at this point. The Rotom can't do anything to me. There's no reason for me to die to an Overheat. There's no reason for me to take a Wisp or anything like that. And it covers like a potential, it's a good mid-ground double in case he goes Registeel, knowing that we're locked in a Stone Edge. But yeah, obviously that 2-hit KO'd. He probably would have pivoted Reggie, but it would have given me a little bit more offensive momentum, as he does elect to go for the Toxic here. Unfortunate. Unfortunate for sure, but it happens. As we are going to take a little bit of chip. Now, at this point, we are on a timer now, so this thing is much less likely of a win con, especially with Roost and things like that in the back. As I'm going to make the Lantern play now. Again, probably should have made it a little bit earlier, but it happens. It happens. As I believe he is going to make the double into his Registeel now. And again, I should have expected at this point, there's no reason for him to stay in and take that Stone Edge and die. He can still use this as a pivot later on. So I should have gone to Throw, because Throw prevented what's about to happen from happening, if that makes any sense at all. Oop, I went backwards, sorry. So we're gonna go forward. Let me get forward in the game. There we go. Awesome. So he's going to withdraw, go out into the Registeel. Get a little bit of leftovers back, obviously, but in my head, I'm like, you know, as long as he's not Iron Defense, I'm really in a fine position here. What I should have done, though, again, what I should have done is Volt Switch out of my throw. I had no reason to try and bait for a Skull Burn. If he's Rest, it doesn't matter anyways, because he just rests off the damage. I don't believe I have a... Well, I do have a Ghost in Driftblim, so I guess this is just a bit of under prep for Driftblim on his end. To be fair, he has Weavile. He has things like Rotom Heat and things like that. I was really close to bringing Driftblim, just because I thought it would be funny, because I know that he got 6-0'd by UBL by Josh, but I ended up not bringing it. Maybe in a rematch, I will end up bringing it, because you're going to see he is going to be a Rest Talk set. As he just starts to Iron Defense up, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the game's pretty much over at this point because my throw took that that unnecessary damage that I allowed it to take in my tilt. As I do get the burn here, which is awesome. Then I Volt. I try and go out into my my Crook just in case he wasn't, just to sack it off. But unfortunately, he is Rest, and I kind of have to bank on him getting bad Sleep Talk rolls. But the way this game went, there was no way that was happening. As I am gonna go out into big throw right here, take a fat body press, and pretty much just die. So unfortunately, that's going to be the game. I have no way of winning the game at this point, as you can see. I don't crit my EQ. I go into my Selly, EQ. I don't crit, and I'm just going to pretty much forfeit the game there, because there's nothing I can do. Again, GG's to Vepsis. This game didn't really matter in the end of the day. I remember after the game, I was incredibly tilted on, you know, kind of getting the shit end of the stick and luck there. Again, a lot like the Trexo game that went up yesterday, and getting a bit unlucky on all the tiny little things that went wrong here. Like no good Sleep Talk rolls, missing 2 moves on the Rotom, stuff like that. But I also let my tilt get to me, and I made a lot of suboptimal plays that allowed me to, you know, just get absolutely body bagged by that Registeel. I could have positioned myself 100 times better. This was a very, very poor showcasing by me. Thankfully, it's not in a game that matters. But I do apologize for that, guys, and hopefully we can bounce back for playoffs. Again, next week is more of a fun, laid-back type video, just because I have a lot going on with school. I also have NCP playoffs and stuff like that to worry about, so I wanted to kind of just, you know, take it as a fun week to get Cooper and uploading, because he's been wanting to make a video for a while. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that one. That one will be a lot of fun to potentially upload and stuff like that. And yeah, with that being said, GG's to Vepsis. Definitely go check them out in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Later.